So let's take time to introduce and welcome our guest this morning, the man who is all over the newspapers this morning, Pastor Ian Albert Ezekiel Brown. Pastor Brown, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Hi, good morning to you all. Special good morning to the righteous people of this nation from all religions.
Us this morning. How are you this morning?
Sir, I'm alive and well. I had a fee for my house to make sure that I don't have 100 police blocking me from getting involved in this interview this morning, because for a pastor to have approximately 100 police running him down and they wouldn't put 5 to track down a criminal is very, very interesting. So that's what took place on Saturday, and they blew my cover. And that's the reason why I'm going public now. You can't blow my cover and say, in front of my gate, you are this person, take off your cover, because when I go out on my beat, I go dressed differently. So it's not the face that people will see. If people see my face today who know I interact with them, they will not know this face. They will know a different face altogether. And that has been my way of working, along with 2 other people for the past couple of years. And because of my training, which my boss doesn't know all about, he knows something, but for what corruption is taking place in national security, he and I and one other person who is at the top of the agency is aware, but everything is being done presently to get me down, so that if that head is down, then they could fire me. He's the only one who could fire me. So to cover up all the breaches, why it is we don't have the fight against crime being something that is being successful, regardless of the millions being pumped into it, there's a reason why. And we have everything on file, and they're trying to remove now all the righteous people in national security who are aware as to what the value of their integrity and their work is involved. The point is this: they started to remove some of them from yesterday. They have a list of people they're going to be removing. Today they're going to continue with that list. And I'm telling you, it's the darkest moment this country has ever faced. And if you all don't do something about it, I can't do anything. What I have determined to do is that if certain people are touched, I'm going with names public, with the proof as to what it is this one has been doing, that one has been doing, and why there are leaks that causes the commissioner of police to not be able to do her work. 3 commissioners of police know me personally. This present commissioner, she knows me. I might go to her like Nicodemus at night with files together with the head of the national security section. And the point is this: she will say when she gets the files, now who will I give this to? Because the point is this: she can't trust people as well. She has a hard job. I feel for this woman. She has integrity, but my gosh, what could you do when you have snakes and rats all over national security? And I am tasked as a police, yes, as a police officer, sworn to uphold and to protect and serve. I am determined to do what I have been assigned to do as a police officer. So I'm speaking to you all this morning as a police officer. My cover has been exposed. All the neighbors and people who are wronged came like it was a big sideshow to see what was happening with all these police vehicles.
So you're still employed with the Trinidad Tobago Police Service as an SRP as of today?
Yes, sir. The thing is, they took my uniforms and they took my police ID card, and they wanted everything I had in connection with national security as a form of ID to be handed over to them. The warrant that I sent to you all, the copy of the warrant, states clearly that they are there to get illegal arms and ammunition. Since when a police uniform is an illegal arm or ammunition? And the normal police taking it, and here what they're telling me, they are taking it because they had to confirm if I'm really a police officer. But they have my ID, they know my background, they know when I started. So it's just lies after lies after lies.
So have you been officially told by the police leadership or the police service that you are not employed? So you have not been terminated as an SRP, as you know it?
No, sir. The commissioner knows better, but she has to do her part to allow the investigation to proceed. She's not.
I don't know if you could I don't know if you could contextualize it for our listening audience. And when did you start being an SRP? Because you indicated 3 commissioners of police knew you, including the current. Is it that it's your SRP assignment happened under the auspices of a prior commissioner of police?
Well, let's put it this way. There are some things I will not speak about like that, as to which commissioners I used to engage with personally one-on-one. But to answer you, is to say, yes, previous commissioner of police, I used to link with directly.
Well, okay, let me be more direct. One of the newspapers this morning is reporting that McDonald Jacob, Gary Griffith, and Mrs. Christopher all have knowledge about your tenure as a SRP. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct. But I'm also saying another police commissioner of police I used to deal with directly in giving intel. Intel is what they call verified information. It isn't talk. It's not what is called anecdotal information. Anecdotal means hearsay. This is proven, and I work with other police officers to get intel, proven information, have my files, have my documents, have my pictures, and forward it to my boss. And
you mean another police commissioner? You mean another police commissioner outside of those 3 that were identified by Dr. Richards?
Okay, who was the previous one? Mr. Williams.
So I met with him. About Mr. Williams?
Yes. Okay. Right? He'll be shocked to know that this person who met him at a certain forum, spoke to him about certain things, was asking him for the privilege to use a bus route pass because of what I was doing as well, put me on to speak to his permanent secretary who was there in a meeting, and that's my background with him. As far as anything else I'll tell and say things, it's always based upon my boss telling me it's okay to speak on certain matters. I am that diligent in keeping the instructions given to me by my boss top secret.
Pastor Brown, you mentioned that your cover is now blown and that people know about you. You've admitted that you, in your words, you associated with former Commissioner Williams, you've worked with McDonald Jacob, former Commissioner Griffith, and now Mrs. here with Christopher. Your cover is blown. Are you worried about your safety, part 1? And 2, are there NDAs or confidentiality clauses signed based on what you describe as the nature of your work? And if so, how are you able to speak now on these issues?
Okay, so far I haven't said anything. I haven't signed anything with the police service concerning any clause. I work as a police officer. My duty and my honor to the police service that has a lot of people with integrity, and then you have some scams and rats, obviously. But I uphold the honorable position of a police officer. And it is my duty, I'm duty bound to protect the people and serve. I only spoke because they blew my cover. You can't come to my home, stop me, frisk me down in front of my gate, have about 50 people coming around the neighborhood because there are police vehicles from one end of my corner to the next end of my corner. That's how many vehicles. And watching and listening to all of the conversations, realizing that I was a police officer, I had a hand over my this, I had a hand over my that, and then they proceed to spend 5 hours at my home. Which criminal or crook do they do that within this country?
So Pastor Brown, as a police officer, where would you have been reporting for duty on a daily basis?
That I cannot divulge. Okay, sir? But let's just say 3 places.
You reported for work at three
separate places which I function from. So sometimes they see me in one place and it's my next place, and that's one of the reasons why they call me the ghost who walks.
So there will be people at these 3 locations who can verify what you are saying this morning.
Well, they surely know who I am. They
Now,
surely
you mentioned a
know.
lot of associations with police commissioners, but a lot of this information has come out because of a shakeup at the SSA. Were you employed with the SSA?
The answer is yes. That was my other cover that was blown right in front of my yard. That's why I could say it now because it was blown. It was exposed. Yes, and he's SSA. Yes, he working so and so. We want your ID for that too.
In
So they
what
wanted my
capacity
ID.
were you employed with the SSA?
Intelligence officer, sir.
So is
Police.
that where they said, so calling you a spy, is that accurate, or just it is officially an intelligence officer?
Well, I do things a lot to kind of heighten mistakes. All right? Because the point is simple. I gather intelligence based upon my training. And I provide it in a very, very orderly and documented and professional way, sir.
So who hired you at the SSA?
Well, again, right? There's some things I can't say. And all you could know is that the person who's my boss, you could take that as high up as you want, is the only person who knows as much as I do. There's one other person that they're trying to remove today. And they intend to remove. And that is a guarantee that the rats in national security remain and run SSA instead. I have the names, I lodged the names in a sealed envelope, by 3 lawyers. So if they kill me, they know they have to reveal these things because they kill me.
Well, I was going to ask you, are you worried for your safety or your life?
Sir, I'm almost 70 years old. Look at my face. I've served with honor. I live for Jesus Christ, and my integrity is because of Jesus. And that is why they love me so much, because I will do the right thing. I will not lie or compromise with the truth and with the way they want righteousness to stand in the nation. There are few people who they could trust. And that's the truth. I was made to interact with Brigadier Peter Joseph before SWORD actually kicked off. And he was the first one I began to give information to. And he used to send hours in the morning. When he got up, he said, look for the scene, because I was the one who was a contractor responsible for the upgrade of his quarters in Macquarie. He knows me personally. So I would visit him, interact with him, talk with him, and brief him. And I continued doing that for years with different people. I'll give you another name.
Pastor Brown, without calling any name, could you identify at least 1 or 2 incidents where your intelligence would have resulted in the breaking of a major case in the country, or the arrest of a major person in the country?
Yes, sir. The case concerning Dana Sitahal.
Yeah.
All right. I was the officer. I was the person who was required to go into a certain neighborhood, identify 2 vehicles that were on cameras, and all them other police who were chicken, who refused to do it. I went on foot and did it, sir.
You would have
That was
got
my
it
first big breakthrough. Must be in disguise, sir. It wouldn't be the face, sir.
Yeah, for all of our listeners listening, I think some may be a little confused. Now, I know the media has covered your story and said, and it indicates that you were trained as a spy by a German national. At least that's one of the newspapers reported it. But I think there may be some conflict in some listeners' minds as to, one, you're a pastor. Where did you get your security training? And how did you merge into the national security infrastructure from being a pastor to becoming a intelligence officer? More so because as a spy, you're required to be deceptive. You have to lie, I assume,
Correct.
things like that.
Nah,
and how does that fit in with your pastor?
No, I like the way Morgan Job does things. Morgan Job doesn't curse publicly, at least, but he uses words. He is so skilled with words that the way he would say it, you really mightn't even know what he said. But Jesus was the same thing. He will use words in such a fashion that the point is that he'll say to the people plainly, he says, it's you who said so. So I learned from Jesus. All right? And he is one of my Israeli counterparts.
You're saying that Dr. Job also learned from Jesus?
I'll never say that, sir.
Pastor Brown, you mentioned the police situation. How much of this information that you're divulging to the media at this time, and it's quite a bit of information based on what we're seeing in the newspapers, should be considered classified and not divulged, including your interaction with the SSA?
Okay, now like I said, they blew my cover. It's all out there. They took pictures of me. They took pictures of everything they found in my home that they found was very, very interesting to them. My house is over 3,000 square feet. It's huge. Okay? You'll hear them saying he has 9 daughters. But the point is this, the Bible says, like Paul will say, you could have many teachers, but you can't have many fathers, because Paul says, I have begotten you through the gospel. And that's the context. There are guys in the church who relate to me and call me dad, and there's guys and there are girls who call me dad. That's it. Sometimes they spend time with my wife. My wife loves to have them around, and that's the context. I have 2 biological children, 2 boys.
But are you the only person from your church or your churches that had been employed by the SSA?
No, sir. I will not lie until I'm not a liar. No. But it's not the figures that they're calling. Some people visit us. And because of some people visiting us, they are now flagged and they are going to be fired too. You can't visit a church and get fired for visiting a church. You can't visit a mosque and be fired for visiting a mosque. You can't visit a Hindu temple and be fired for visiting a Hindu temple. Something is wrong.
What is wrong with Major Best a member of your congregation?
Yes, but Major Best didn't even know who I was in the context of what I was doing prior to him visiting the church under the person who invited him, all right, was a senior person, high top ranking person in the defense force. And when he came and he realized this is about righteousness, he just stayed on for a while, and then after he realized that he would like to be a part of the church and that kind of stuff. So I have nothing to do with him training me.
So he had no knowledge of you being a part of the SSA or the police service, to your knowledge?
Okay. The point is, Major Best did not know my involvement with Peter Joseph, Brigadier Peter Joseph, and whatever I was talking to Brigadier Francis about. Brigadier Francis was a major at the time in Special Forces. And I was doing the upgrades of the Special Forces facility as a contractor. I used to do contracts for national security. And it's through that activity, I got to know a lot of people that I could have safely given intel to, and they will verify it. And the point is this, I don't trust police. They came, you can imagine over 100 of them come over my house, and I can't see what some of them doing at all. I don't know if they planted bugs, if they plant weed, if they plant cocaine, because all of my family was made to stand outside in the hot sun while they were doing their mischief. Wherever I was with the officer who had a warrant, there were other police officers going around my house, through my house, every area, into my office, where I have my confidential things. I was not allowed to go there when they were searching. I don't know what it took, except I'm sure the bag with all my police uniform. Why take that and that is not any warrant? This is what the nation must ask.
Do you think there's a connection between the recent developments regarding Major Best being sent on administrative leave and the raid on your compound?
It's directly related, sir, because he was not raided. Why raid me with about 100 police and nobody comes by him? What is there about a pastor that he's so important to you guys, to all you guys, I had to say, that you need to send so many police, right, to make a big bacchanal, to expose him? Why expose me? So I can't do my job anymore? That's the point. So if you listen to listening, if I am exposed as far as they concerned, I can't continue my work.
Yeah. Pastor Brown, as someone versed in intelligence, do you have cameras at your home? And I would imagine you would have had hidden cameras and even microphones.
Yes, 16 of them. And
So
yes, some with microphones.
So you have footage
And
and
they don't do
audio
that.
of this raid?
Sir, if I say yes, you might kill me after I finish talking with you all.
Well, that
All right?
wouldn't remove the footage and the audio, because I'm sure that you would not have had it stored on any normal DVR also.
You better believe I'm trained as well. And the neighbors, I got their footage as well.
Okay.
So, Pastor,
You see, I'm skilled.
earlier in the conversation, you said this is the darkest time for the country, or something along that line.
That's
Could you
correct.
clarify what you mean by that?
It's because the people who are righteous, that certain segment or part of SSA, are being pulled out as we speak. As we speak. Pulled out to guarantee that the rats will function with their legacy of covering who they want to cover, limit whatever comes to whoever's the commissioner of police, and SSA will be the most corrupt organization in the country.
So you see
Pamela and
this
them
as an
should be
attack?
worried about that.
Yeah. You see this as an attack on the Christian faith-based people in the police service?
No, sir. I see it as an attack against all those who are righteous. They are righteous people who are not Christians, non-Christians, who are targeted as well. It is not our people who may have visited church. There are people who have never even seen which party churches who are being targeted.
One of the concerns I have,
Interrogated.
Pastor Brown, one of the concerns I have is that you said you're a trained intelligence officer, right? So, and they are, I'm sure they're classified information, confidentiality clauses, NDAs in your employ as an intelligence officer working with the SSA that you've confirmed earlier on. And even if your cover is blown, which you say is the main reason why you're talking now, I would imagine there's a certain level of professionalism and ethical practice that should obtain, even if you feel your cover is blown in the interest of national security. How do you respond to people who will be saying, but you're not acting professionally, you are divulging information which could put national security at risk in one way or another?
I like a question, sir. I have pledged before my God that if the righteous are taken down and truth has fallen into the street, and the scripture says, because of that, what is going to happen to a nation? I have determined to uphold the scriptures as well, which means if they're taking on the righteous, I'm going to have to go to jail. It's as simple as that, sir.
So you're prepared to be facing charges of breach of confidentiality and classified information because of your religious persuasion?
That's what I'm saying, sir. If today certain people are taken down, what I have in sealed envelopes will be unsealed by my lips so that the nation will know why crime is not being solved, why the commissioner has a difficult job in doing what she's doing, and why the director, who they have named and everything like that, has been removed. Yeah, they're going to have to jail me.
This entire incident, of course, came to the public light via the release from the Office of the Prime Minister that indicated that the head of the SSA was being sent on administrative leave, that there was going to be a shakeup, and that it was a threat to national security. This is coming from the Office of the Prime Minister and the National Security Council. Are you saying that the Office of the Prime Minister and the National Security Council has it wrong?
I'm saying that they don't have it right. That's what I'm saying.
Now, Pastor Brown, assuming that you were as deep in the bowels of national security as you say you are or you were, how come we still have this level of crime then, if that's the case? Who else was involved in intelligence? Who else was involved in trying to make this place peaceful? If you said that you were involved in the investigation into the Dana Sital murder, we've gotten really nowhere with that. People have been charged, yes, but we don't know for sure. So why are we in the situation that we're in now? If you're going back as far as Brigadier Peter Joseph, whom I also know.
Yeah, that's before they built any building for them. They were renting out a building in El Socorro. And I used to meet the brigadier there as well. So what I'm saying is this. Let them touch one of the righteous. be it a Hindu, a Muslim, or a Christian, today as they have planned to. And the point is this: I don't have $100,000. I don't have any much more of my life in me. I'm almost 70 years. Point is this: I'm gonna have to go to jail. I just got the Guillain-Barré syndrome thing on. I was paralyzed from head to foot, couldn't even talk. I'm still in a recovery mode. So those who are assigned and tasked to me have been doing my job as well. But the point is this: I was determined to get back up. I fell down 10 times because fighting to get back my strength. I am serving this country. I'm living for Jesus, and I will not flinch. You see, they thought I was a softie. I'm not softie. I
How
live
many
for
other people in
righteousness.
your church are employed with the SSA?
How many? Sorry?
How many other people in your church are employed with the SSA? And what are their qualifications to be employed at the SSA?
From my knowledge, like I'll say it again, I told the city reporter, there are 5 people. 5. And they all have their degrees. They are very qualified. Masters, bachelors, extra trading, all kind of stuff. Proficient.
Were
And
you
SSA
instrumental in
is
getting
not,
them hired because of your relationship with the organization?
they didn't even know I wasn't there.
But anyone
That's,
listening, once you find it strange as a member of the public that 6 members of the same church are all employed by what is the country's highest intelligence gathering agency, 6 persons in one church, is that was
sir,
strange?
sir, let me tell it to you like this. Do you know how many people are employed by this agency? I know the exact figure. So if you hear the percentage, it's like, hello, it's so many people. I can't even give you the percentage because it's so small. All right? And the point is this: that is not surprising because if you have people who are righteous and people fail polygraphs like that, you might give a polygraph to 50 people and 2 alone pass only 50. That's how many liars we have in this country. And if in my assembly they found 5 people who are straight and they are qualified, what is wrong? They find Muslims who are straight and are qualified. What is wrong?
Are they
This
still
is
employed
not
with the
what a
SSA?
church.
Are they still employed with the
Sorry?
SSA or have they been terminated?
My position, sir, no one has communicated with me since this whole fracas began. All right? Since they raided the different places that you all would have heard about in the papers that was leaked out as to where the police were, and they stopped people from entering the SSA, stopped them from leaving those compounds, and the news were accurate in what they said. And for that to happen, I took a drive to verify it myself. That's my job. And when I saw the amount of police, I was shocked. And the point is this: why? Nah,
So
man.
you weren't
This
there. You
isn't.
weren't there when they raided your home, Pastor.
Yes, sir. I was there.
So
They,
what
they stopped me
what
from leaving
drive
my
did you
gate.
have to take then? What
What
drive did you have to
drive did
take
I
to
have to
see
take?
it?
I'm trying to understand the question still. I'm sorry.
No, you just said you took a drive and saw how many police officers were dead. Isn't that what you just said?
Oh, I drove down the Port of Spain. I drove down the Port of Spain because I got information that thus and thus is happening. Now, information must be verified as proof. So that's what I do. That's my job. You don't just hear talk. You have to prove that it is really so. And that's why I took a drive from Arima to Port of Spain and I saw it myself with my own eyes. There are
So
pictures concerning what I saw.
what did you see down in Port of Spain?
I saw police outside of the compound and police inside of the compound with huge guns, and their whole position and this position is not as simple as lock down, but lock out and lock in. So that's the first time for this particular section of national security. This has never happened before in the history of this country. Why is it that 100 pastors are cast out against a pastor? And you have so many criminals that they would even put 5 police against. This
Do
nation
you
has...
think that, all right.
Pastor, good morning.
Welcome back, Pastor Brown.
Right.
And they blocked my app. Nothing with my app are now working. I checked, no app is working.
So you said that they've blocked you from using your
WhatsApp?
your WhatsApp devices?
Yes, sir.
Can
On
they
this
do
phone
that?
right now,
We have the technology to do that.
to do that with yours as well. Let me tell you something. Let them touch one of the righteous today. I will give you all the other links.
Pastor Brown, who is they? Who is they? Who is they that you think blocked your apps? Who is they?
Yeah,
Pastor Brown?
Yes, sir.
Who is they? You say they blocked my app. Who is they?
Well, sir, national security isn't just what you think it is in one area. And all I'm saying is, if I have to go public because they choose to approve the righteous bit, Hindu, Muslim, or who, this man is going to talk. And then you'll realize it isn't just about the agency you all know. It's another one in the system that has more power than the one that the director was removed from. And I will...
Pastor, identify for us who are some of these other righteous people.
Identify who these righteous people? You mean...
Yes, so you don't have to name all. You don't have to name all. But who are some of these other righteous people?
Who have integrity, and they do not flinch when it comes to presenting the truth and the realities as to what is happening with the crime situation in the country. And when the director has to have a brief, and the brief is presented, those types of information are not found in the briefing to the director. They do not reach the commissioner of police, and that's why we cannot fight crime the way we could fight crime in the country. Those righteous people who are trying their best and sacrificing their lives to do what is right so this country has something called peace, and it has something called a status that the whole world could know about and enjoy. We have been flagged as being a kind of a nation that doesn't know how to fight crime.
So who are some of these other righteous people? I'm assuming Major Best is a righteous person.
Yes, sir.
Who else are the righteous people in national security?
I cannot call the names now, but let them touch one of them today. You will hear their name.
How can someone posted a good question. How can the person who is in charge of the SSA not have knowledge of the people who are employed and working as intelligence gathering agents in the SSA?
No, I didn't say that he doesn't have knowledge of them. I'm saying that...
I'm talking about, of you.
Okay, you're asking me how he doesn't have knowledge about me?
Yeah.
Since this whole fracas began with him being removed, I've never spoken to him about anything so far.
No, I'm talking you. I asked you earlier on if when he visited the church, if you knew that you were an intelligence gathering agent with the SSA, and you said no, he didn't. He wasn't aware of that.
Because it was, you see, like I said before, and the reporter who interviewed me has all the facts correctly. So there are other reporters who, like Mark and others, who are trying all kinds of stuff to present a narrative for the public to hear. They are really... I had diarrhea for 2 days that I was supposed to interact with Mr. Mark. And the point is this, I took this as a sign that this diarrhea was a sign that don't interact with this man. Okay? And after I decided that my diarrhea stopped, I took that as a sign from God that this man is diarrhea. I'm telling you, plain talk.
Pastor Brown, question, two-part question. One,
Steve has had that issue too, you know.
You said that there is information that... Do you think what you're divulging is going to destabilize national security in the country or is a threat to national security? You said you don't care because you are 70 years old, but that's about you. What about the rest of the country? One, part one. And two, the information that you have contained in the letters.
So this is going to strengthen the country. For the country to rise up and say, if we really want to stop crime and to solve things and have things in the right way. It isn't going to mash up anything. It's going to join this nation.
All right. And the second part of the question. The second part of the question is, you said there's information that you've documented and is in the hands of 3 attorneys that if anything happens to you, is going to be released to the public. I'm paraphrasing here.
Correct.
If that information is so potent, why has it not been reposed with the authorities before?
So, like I said earlier on, I'm sure you were going to say it, but firstly asking it again so that the listeners will hear it again. That boss of mine who has been named and suspended and one other head are the only ones who know as much as I do. Okay? And they have documents to prove it. Some people got fired already who were in these positions of deception and were rats. And the rest of the rats ran to a certain minister, and the minister got involved because he has a lot to cover as well.
Who is this minister?
No, you're making a very don't name any minister because you are going to put us in trouble, Wendell.
You must know what I will not say and what I will
And
say.
is it a church minister?
I am a church bishop. The Association of Independent Ministers, I'm a part of that grouping. We oversee 37 churches. I'm a bona fide bishop.
So are you referring to somebody in the church that they ran to?
No, I'm just saying minister outside of the church is minister in the government.
Oh, so it's a government minister you're referring to?
Yes, sir. Okay. I think you really wanted to say it clearly. It's very wise.
Okay.
Now you're making some very serious allegations here.
Sir, I may die today. My brother was murdered because of what he was doing that I was doing similarly. He was a police informant and he was shot dead 9 bullets. Okay? He never knew I was a police officer. My mother died the same year. That's 2022 I'm talking about. She never knew I was a police officer involved in anything. None of my siblings. I'm from 8 children. And Saturday, my eldest brother discovered who I was. Everything was done in the yard, and all the public was able to hear what he was saying, and he, for the first time, knew what I was. My cover is blown. Yet, because of my gigs, I could go somewhere else and people will never know that the person that they know by another name is the pastor.
What other name you went by?
Come on. Nice one. Nice one. All right.
Pastor Brown, what do you want to come out of all of this in the end? If you say you have the interest of Trinidad and Tobago at hand, what is your outcome? You hope for your outcome here?
That this nation believes that they are righteous people from all religions, all denominations, who are willing to lay down their life to do the right thing. And that we must uphold what is right and the people who stand for true righteousness. That's my objective, sir.
You won't get any argument with that on this Power Breakfast show. Even though we may not all be religious, we are all righteous people, in my opinion. We all try to do what is right. So you won't get any argument against that on this Power Breakfast show.
Pastor Brown, what you seem to be suggesting is that this entire imbroglio is part of a cover-up of some kind?
It is the biggest cover-up I've ever witnessed since I was born. The only place where things like this happen is in Russia.
What would the state of Trinidad and Tobago have to gain by covering up this? Who benefits?
Well, what they will gain is a great loss if this remains covered up. What will be to the advantage of this nation is if light begins to shine again. If the light goes out, that's it.
Now you're talking in parables, and what you're suggesting is there seems
God.
to be a cover-up of some. I know there's some things you can't say because even we will get into trouble, and I don't want us to get into trouble because you make allegations that we can't independently substantiate, right? But what you're suggesting is that someone there's an initiation of some sort of activity to cover up what seems to be wrongdoing that you're alleging. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. That's correct.
Is it on the criminal side and allowing criminals to continue? Is that what you're suggesting?
It's allowing criminals to continue who help certain people to remain in politics because of the narrative concerning the way they are supported. That's
So
a
this thing
lot
has
to
gotten
say.
political now.
But, well, sir, I'm not a politician. I'll never be a politician. I'll never, NEVER, capital letters, and not just capital letters, put it in a bold font that is huge. Never.
Have you ever supported any political party?
Of course.
Do you
Ask
care to
me
say
which one and who. I'll tell you. The UNC.
you've supported the UNC?
Of course, but not the UNC per se. I supported a friend who was Mr. Reverend Roger Samuel. And the point is this: he, as a righteous person, I believe, was a good man who was in my constituency to vote for. And that's the only person I ever supported. Otherwise, I don't.
So you voted for the UNC? You voted for the UNC?
Well, what I explain now is I don't vote party. I voted for a friend who I believe was righteous, and he was supporting righteousness, and he wanted to do something for the COP. I shouldn't have even said UNC because he's
He was
right?
COP. He was COP.
So I was wrong in saying UNC. I'm sorry, guys. It's the COP.
Pastor Brown, have you been invited for any interview with the Trinidad Tobago Police Service since the raid on your compound or compounds?
No, sir, not at all.
So the police have not, and when they raided the compound, did they interrogate you in any way?
They interrogated me in extreme ways. And the most important thing that they wanted to do was to get all of my IDs and paraphernalia attached to national security, which was not just the police service. The only thing that they didn't get was my national security badge, which I couldn't find at the time. But the point is this: they took everything else pertaining to me being part of that national security.
So do you still consider yourself, given that development, to be part of the Trinidad Tobago Police Service as an SRP?
Well, no one told me I'm fired. No one called me to say I'm suspended. All right? The same way I was contacted on this phone and I answered a phone number I didn't know. All right? They could have called me and I would have answered. And the point is simple. I have 7 phones. So that's my work. I have phones for different purposes. So anybody who gets this number, they must have had somebody high up to have given them this number.
So to your knowledge, you're still employed by the Trinidad Tobago Police Service officially. Are you still working for the SSA?
So I still do my job in the context of what I am tasked to do, in the context of my remit, and I do that on a daily basis, sir.
So you continue your intelligence gathering on behalf of the SSA even after your cover has been blown?
You heard me correctly. I was doing this for free before I was given a stipend and before I was made to come in. Whenever I was made to come into SSA to be recognized as somebody, as an intelligence officer and a police officer.
How do you get that stipend, Pastor Brown? How do you get it? Do you get it paid through your account? How do you collect that stipend?
Initially, it was a check, and presently, it goes straight into my account.
Okay, so there's evidence that you are paid. There's evidence that you are paid from National Security through an account.
There's evidence that I'm paying my taxes. There's evidence that from National Security, my salary is paid into a bank account, yes.
I have
From
one
national
final
security.
question. One final question, and I don't want you to call any names. Have you, in the execution of your duties, were you called upon to gather intelligence on any politician, government,
No, sir,
opposition, or
never.
otherwise?
No, I wouldn't lie to you, sir. Never, from any side, any corner, was I ever asked to do that. Strictly as to what is happening with national security to determine why we can't solve the crimes. Police work, sir. It's police work.
Pastor Brown, my final question. In the execution of this warrant, were you detained at any point in time by the police?
No, sir. Only at the inception when I was held, pulled to the back of my vehicle, made a spread eagle, held my arms, frisked me down, then frisked me again. That is the only time I was actually apprehended, sir. And for a pastor to have all these amount of police being around him, why they can't find a criminal? It's better they send him to go and plant cassava, man. You know, or help to plant dashing somewhere. There's so much police we have free to look for a pastor and get nothing but his uniform. Nah, man. People of Trinidad, don't be fooled. They tell you plainly, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but they cannot fool all of the people all of the time. Let them touch one of those righteous people, be they Muslim, Hindu, or what, who are fighting to cause this nation to have some kind of a stability. And they do that today. That's it. I open my mouth. Let them sue me. Let them jail me. I don't have much time to live again. I'm almost 70. I was extended a grace position to function as a police officer for a couple of years. And that extension ceases in November 28th this year. And I will do it longer if they want me to do it until I drop. My wife wouldn't like what she would hear me saying with these words, but that is the truth. That is me for righteousness. That is me for Jesus, and that is me for the country.
Pastor, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Pastor Brown, for speaking with us.
And your contribution.